The Banj also gifted his longtime producer Chiki Cheesy a
car,
brand new Range Rover.
Yeah,
So,
that was really good.
And E-Money too, to celebrate his birthday, gave out brand new cars.
Well, that's E-Money now. It's always expected. Yeah, but do you have like a list of people that got the new cars?
No, it's just staff.
To give out.
No, it's staff for
Okay.
making his work easier.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
So anytime
So just the diligent staff.
Anytime Ife makes your job easier, you know what to do, Elsie.
Gift me a car.
Gift him a car.
But
I
not
look
just
forward
any
to doing
car,
that.
please.
You are proud. People that got cars.
My sister, I already have a car. Those people, they probably didn't have a car.
So probably look for something else, probably a Boxer to
No,
get for him since he
like
has a
a
car.
G-Wagon.
Yeah.
A G-Wagon would do it.
What does a G-Wagon mean? What's the G-Wagon?
A G-Wagon, a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, a Range Rover 2019, a Bentley.
Well, you should be the one gifting her a car, actually.
Well, you
already have
were the one who advocated for me, so I don't know why you're talking.
Because now you should have accepted it in good faith, and you are actually choosing now.
They say beggars have no
Exactly.
choice.
I mean, I said...
No, it's different if that beggar didn't have a choice before, but this beggar has a choice.
Oh, so this is a beggar,
executive beggar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's move on to today's stories. Okay, so our first main story this afternoon is on Davido, who apologizes to all women after body shaming a female lawyer. Okay, so I think we should just do this.
Yeah, because she's your learned colleague, right? And you were praising her this morning.
Yeah.
So just continue.
I just think I listened to. I don't know if you guys... Well,
you know, when he lashes out, he doesn't come back. So this is really a surprise for me. I'm saying personally.
Well, if he does apology, because even when he was denying that he did not slap, what's it called, Kiss Daniel's manager, he still tendered an apology that if you feel it was he still apologized for that. You understand?
Did he?
Yes.
I don't recall him.
Because she kept saying David, and in his post, he said, stop referring to me as David. You do not know me to be calling me David.
And when was that? Was that when he lashed out?
Yeah, that was...
I mean, that could be out of anger, because for her to keep saying David, then it's definitely clear that there's some level of...
certain things that are politically inclined. I don't think...
Yeah, but before you continue, I think he was going to make a statement.
Oh, yes, thank you very much for reminding me.
What you want to say about Davido's stories.
So, basically, I just wanted to conclude by saying that men need to take cue from a lot of things that Lolo said, saying that, look, instead of having, what's it called, a mental conversation with you, rather tend to shame these ladies. Like, it even happens on the streets of Lagos. You see a guy trying to say, oh, and then the moment you don't give them attention, they say, it's the warrior, and say, you know even fight. You know, you get, like, they just try to slut shame
that makes me laugh, though.
or body shame you anytime they cannot level up. So I think men should learn how to level up instead of...
Elf is happy with your statement.
Yeah. Instead of trying to shame a woman by her appearance every time you just have a conversation. If a woman is tackling something you said, instead of going back and forth saying how ugly she is, explain to her why you said this or why you're doing this. Have a conversation.
Yeah,
like
but should you even be saying that in the first place? Like you said, leveling up before you even speak, you know, so...
How?
No,
okay. Okay,
I think we should move on right now. We should move on right
like
now.
wondering, where is he coming from? Where is he going? All right, yeah, I think we should move on. If you've made your point here, you've said all that you need to. Okay, so let's move on to our next story.
Babasure.
Yes, Elsie?
The angle I want to come from, man, this is not to offend anybody, but I feel really sad for him. I hope he gets the help he needs. I hope people around him rallies around to do something. And if they can't, I'm sure Babasure has so many fans, and a GoFundMe will actually go a long way right now. But having said this, over the weekend I was watching a rally for one of the political parties, and you'd see so many of this Yoruba Nollywood actors and actresses giving their support and saying this person is doing this person is doing that. And we see this over and over again. Each time there's an election coming up, they just come out there and tell you, vote for this, vote for that, vote for this. Now, this brings me, I'm bringing it into this because of Baba Suri and his situation and the fact that our health insurance in Nigeria, we have underlying issues in that sector. And when it's time, when these people have this opportunity, they don't use their voices or their influence or the fact that they get to mingle with these politicians to talk about the fact that they need Nollywood to have a structure. They need insurance to start working. They need a whole lot of things to work well. We need our health system to be better. But rather, you see them just collect whatever it is they're collecting at that point, chant whatever party or whatever candidate they want to chant at that point, and then they don't remember you until another 4 years, and you come back to do the same thing. So I think this should take us back. While we want help for Baba Suri, they should really think about their future and not just what they are doing now, especially with the kind of influence they have. That's what I feel.
We're talking about the government.
Not just the government. I'm talking about these actors.
Oh, I see.
What they do with their influence and what exactly they're influencing. Because at the end of the day, it still goes back to affect them. You know, when they are off that. Because this limelight thing, it happens like, it's like a phase. You have it and then you don't have it anymore.
Okay.
You know, so.
All right, before we move on to our next story, just final thoughts on this before we move on.
I think the Actors Guild has a lot to play in this as well, because if you guys are an organization put together for actors, and then at the end of the day, one of them falls sick, and then you can't come through for them from a reservoir of money, because I'm sure they pay to be members of this guild.
Even if they don't pay, they can rally around to help and support one person.
Yeah, and I think that they also have a lot of role to play in this. It's not just the public calling out or one-on-one calling out. What are the actors? What is the Actors Guild of Nigeria doing for
people like these?
People like this.
Yes, but I wanted to say, you know, that in as much as we've said, you know, that the Actors Guild should do this and do that, I think that it's not every actor, you know, that is actually part of the organization. So I don't know in this circumstance.
Except on that
basis, they're allowed. But any other member that is a part of, I think you have a point there. All right, next we're discussing Bisola Ayola, who defends Osas Ighodaro and Shades Gbenro Ajibade. And that's regarding, we talked about this earlier this morning, didn't we? We started a little bit. We mentioned it. Yes. So let's even talk about it generally, you know. And you guys know I've always been an advocate of not bringing your business onto social media. So I have so much of a problem with this guy right now. But let's even talk about it generally, you know. He should know that his wife is in the entertainment industry. You know, this is what you get for the industry, or is what comes along with the industry, you know. And then at the end of the day, I think it's about the woman. If she decides she wants to, you know, quit the entertainment industry to support the family properly, at the end of the day, I think you guys should have discussed that, or she should, you know, discuss that at some point in time, either during dating or after marriage. Either way, both of you should be in sync before something like this happens. And I don't like the way that he has brought it, because like I said, I always have issues with people bringing out their marital problems, you know, washing their dirty linen in public. You know, this is something he could have had a conversation with her, you know, to say maybe he doesn't like it or he likes it, or how can we go forward? I'm not happy about you doing this in public. But he chose to do it via social media. And I think that's one of the reasons why Bisola is also lashing out at him. So...
No, you.
No, I think Elsie has something she's holding on. Are you serious? I thought you really had like a smoking gun.
I want you to just say something.
Let's not forget the fact that Gbenro, that's the guy's name, right? He's throwing the shade all the way from the abroad. He's not in Nigeria. He's not there to carry the baby. I mean, he's not complaining that she left this child with me and I've been taking care of the baby from... I mean, he's been away for like... for weeks, let me put it that way. And this woman, she's here working and taking care of this child. And then all you have to do is now come on social media to tell us, oh, she left the child somewhere. How did you know? It meant to have somebody monitoring her, or did you call to find out how your child was doing? Like you said, I'm not a fan of bringing your personal business to social media. Like it's
makeup, and then we'll still be the ones talking about them.
First of all, I am not in support of him coming on social media to do this.
I'm glad we're all on the same page.
But at the same time, calling his father or his mother is as good as coming on social media. Or calling a father or mother, because the relationship is between two people. Our father and a mother were not there when you asked her out. Her father and the mother were not there when you asked her to marry. Yeah, that's why it should be the both of them to communicate.
But you cannot say it is wrong to bring in somebody that is elderly into this situation, because from what you said, he's had a conversation.
Yeah, that's like worst case scenario. Okay. Like, and I don't think this
that's
has
after
gotten,
social media.
I don't think this has
he said it's worst case
scenario. No, yeah, like that is when you would get them involved. Maybe it's leading to irreconcilable differences. Then in that case, you can say, okay, let's have a family meeting. Let's talk about this. We are now a family. That's totally different. But him coming on social media is very shameful, number one, because it makes it look like he doesn't even have his act together. Like you cannot control your woman.
Exactly. And then because he thinks that he's actually shading her, meanwhile, it actually reflects bad on him. Because now you're coming to this conclusion. So many people will come to this conclusion as well.
And
that
I mean,
but at the
did you
same
read the
time,
comments?
Yeah, I was going to go there. Yeah, that's where I was going to. I said at the same time, I went through the comments, even though 90% of the comments were against him. At least the remaining 10%, I could find some sense in him, because a lot of people were saying, oh, the celebrities, why did they come on social media to talk about their personal issues? And then I saw one particular or two people that were on the same page or more that were like, is it not better for these celebrities to come and vent their anger on social media and get it off their chest than bottle it inside and then they end up at the bottom of the lagoon or committing suicide?
Anytime I want to have like a real conversation these days, everybody just brings out depression and suicide, and then you don't even know what to say anymore, and you be like, okay, let me just keep quiet and be watching. The fact remains that what he did is totally wrong. And I mean, I don't want to come here to start talking about the rumors and gist that's been going on in their marriage for a very long time, considering the fact that even people expected that they are probably not going to be together by now. Well, good thing is they are still together. And he is not here.
But I don't think it is still responsible, whether you're in the entertainment industry or not.
Okay,
it is not responsible for any married woman to send a baby home with a stranger.
Which mother will do that? I mean, I read a comment there,
so let her come
and
out
somebody
to
even
please,
I hope she doesn't come out to say anything, because I don't think Nigerians are already fighting for her, so she doesn't need to.
You know the drill. When it gets very interesting, we need to go on break. Time for another break. When we come back, we'll be changing our story. We'll have just one more story, one more entertainment story. Keep it where you've got it, right here on Plus TV Africa. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Ali Nuhu. Keep watching Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Best concert of your life? Don't just stay cool, stay refreshed with an ice-cold Coca-Cola. Pick your lane, solo or bigger boy.
Taste the feeling.
You're still watching Nigeria Decides on Plus TV Africa, and we're moving on.
We need to have a national consensus. We need to accept that democracy has come to stay.
What is the essence of a coalition?
The reforms cannot come from the police. We've said that times without number.
You got something from me, you don't have the moral right to sanction me.
Did we even receive the kind of awareness, the welcome, like other people?
This character of impunity must stop.
Politicians, to a large extent, are very great schemers.
It was a violence among two different union groups.
Intra-party violence can spill over and boil over even into post-election violence. So it's something that we need to keep a lid on.
My name is Baj Adebile. Keep watching Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome back. It's still Tea Time right here on Plus TV Africa. And we're moving on to our next story, which is on Mariah Carey, who gets $5 million from ex-billionaire fiancé. Yes. You would think that this is quite a lot of money. You know, you would think it's quite a lot of money.
Well, considering the fact that she asked for 50,000,
50 million, actually.
50 million, yeah.
Yes. So she wanted 50 million, but I think after all the negotiations and
and then she got to keep the ring as well.
Yes, and apparently it's worth. Some say it's under. Some say it's under 10, but some say it's like 10. So let's just even say between 5 and 10 million is still a lot of money.
So $15 million is still a lot for wasting.
$5 million is a lot of money. They say it's just for wasting your time, and me, I have a lot of wasted time that is just wasted. Like I have wasted time that is wasted. I'm not making money from the wasting time.
Seriously, I don't understand this, and I'm coming to you, from a legal perspective because I don't understand it. Yes, they were engaged. They were supposed to marry, and
he
then
proposed, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
and
so
then
there is a case there.
Yes,
even in Nigeria, that's the funny part. There's a case there, but how many people want to pursue it?
That's what I'm saying. So, okay. So I wanted, to know the legal angle. If financially you're entitled to,
Yes, based on the fact, even in Nigeria, it's applicable. If I propose to Elsie and I promised her marriage, and then she's put a lot aside, maybe she was supposed to go and do her master's in Canada, but she knows our wedding is going to be next year, so she's like, okay, let me do my master's 2 years from now and focus on my marriage. And I'm wasting her time. I've wasted a lot of energy that she could have put into other things.
And by Nigerian law, you're meant to compensate.
Yes. Wow. But if she goes to court for wasted time, especially when the breakup is not on a solid ground.
Okay.
You understand? Maybe because we do not know what happened. And from speculations and reports, it was the fact that it was abusive. And then I don't know if you guys saw a video one time when they were both walking on into his
boat. Or the yacht. Yes, the yacht in Greece.
The yacht in Greece, and then she almost slipped, and he just looked and kept walking like he wasn't even caring. Do you understand? Somebody you just proposed
there's some kind of coldness in that guy.
She almost fell down. I think she even fell down. And then
the question is, how did he even toast her first?
He has all the money now. Come on, someone that gave you $10 million ring. Come on. When you start the relationship, it will be quite exciting. But when I looked at the two of them, I'm like, these two don't look really gel. There's something odd about him. But when you have a lot of money, it helps facilitate the relationship.
And then aside that, there are also reports that he did something to her assistant.
Yes, to the assistant on that trip in Greece.
Which ended the tour.
Which made her cancel a lot of, and she lost out on a lot of cash for that as well. So we don't know exactly what we did. You get.
I think this settlement is even out of court, because if it was in court, I'm sure she will get more. So that was why he decided to do this.
So we don't know what to do, but obviously, Mariah Carey is likely to lose a lot from a relationship, especially if she stays very committed in it. Do you understand what I mean?
Don't forget, is it not the same Mariah Carey that has insured most parts of her body? Right?
Yeah.
So I think she has her backside and all that insured and all that. So she knows how to actually milk these things and make money.
Yeah, she's just like 50 Cent. Are you guys aware that 50 Cent is also suing an NYPD officer for threatening his life?
Yeah.
And the NYPD is investigating the NYPD right now.
Can you imagine? Internal investigation.
Yeah, so I'm just like 50 Cent. Making money is just like a walk in the park for him.
And knowing 50 Cent, he would definitely win.
Especially when you're in a country with systems that are working.
Yes, so he will milk it and know how to do.
And make your money.
All right, guys, that's where we're going to wrap up on Tea Time this afternoon. It's been a wonderful time discussing fantastic topics. Join us tomorrow for absolutely fresh episodes of the program. Until then, big thank yous to my co-anchors Ife, Elsie, and the entire production team as well. I'm Tokunbo Taiwo saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
and many thanks for joining us in News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. My name is Felicity Ezewige. Here's some of the stories making the headlines. The Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has called on Nigerians to pray this week if they want the general elections to hold. President of the association, Reverend Samson Ayokunle, made the call during a service at the Trinity Baptist Church at Jobo Ibadan, Oyo State capital, on Sunday. He said about what is happening in the country, I want you to pray very well this week. If it's about the things we see in the spirit, it is not sure that election will hold at all. We won't want elections to hold like they didn't hold. If that should happen, it would cause trouble or even lead to war. That is why we have asked you to pray this week. Pray that bad people will not be involved in Nigeria's affairs. He went on to say that people who think they are powerful and want to cause trouble for us, God himself will give them problems and keep them away. The National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Lagos State on Sunday said it had retrieved all sensitive materials for the rescheduled presidential and National Assembly elections earlier distributed to the 20 local government areas of the state. INEC spokesman in Lagos, Mr. Femi Akinbiyi, told the news agency of Nigeria that all sensitive materials had been retrieved and kept in the central bank under security watch. He said that the sensitive materials, which comprised ballot papers and result sheets, had been distributed at the 3 senatorial districts before they were later moved to the 20 local government. INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, had attributed the postponement of the elections to logistic and operational problems. Akinbiyi said that the Lagos State Commissioner of Police had monitored the exercise in some local governments. According to him, all card readers earlier each local government area have been returned to the INEC office in Yaba for reconfiguration. The INEC state chairman said that the postponement would afford the electoral body the opportunity to address the identified challenges in order to maintain the quality of Nigeria's election. The resident electoral commissioner in Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Mike Igini, has called for an end to criticism and complaints targeted at Mrs. Amina Zakari following the postponement of Nigeria's general elections on account of logistic challenge. Mrs. Zakari, one of the Independent National Electoral Commission's national commissioners, had been blamed for the logistic challenges that led the commission to shift the elections by a week, with critics claiming that she oversees electoral operations and logistics. He said, I want to appeal to Nigerians that this time let us not just be name-calling without fact-checking some of the things people talk about. Amina Zakari is no longer the chairperson of electoral operations. The person in charge of the operations is Professor Okechukwu Ibiano, stressing that issues concerning arrangements for NYSC and the welfare of ad hoc staff fell under him. Mrs. Zakari, who is the chairman of the INEC Committee on Coalition Center for the General Elections, had been the subject of controversy before now, with the opposition.
We're still outside, arranging the materials local government by local government when the news rented the air that on account of the operational realities that we're faced with, which is correct, the election has to be shifted to Saturday. We should be focusing on next Saturday. Akwa Ibom has one of the best, has a very unique, beautiful terrain in the whole of South. That is a place that you have no excuse not to deliver your material, because within 2 hours you will cover you get to the farthest local government. Within an hour you get to the farthest local government in Akwa Ibom State. It has the best terrain, cool road network here. So we have no problem with that at all. We have absolutely no problem with that. But in any case, the election shouldn't, there's no way to go on in a staggered manner. So it is shifted. Our focus now should be on Saturday.
Can you give account of the casualties recorded, the number of vehicles burnt, and state of things?
At Ogbudakara, there is no incident around beyond the 11 vehicle of INEC to be used for the election that were burned. No human life was lost. However, I was told that in another part of the local government, which is not close to our office, there was a reported, death of somebody also on account of the violence perpetrated by this group of thugs that have been hired by politicians.
INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu said at a stakeholders briefing that burning of INEC offices, court cases and logistic constraints accounted for the postponement of the election. What is your take?
The chairman is absolutely right and correct as to why the election was postponed. There were clear operational realities. The fact that, for instance, in Anambra State, in Abia, you are all aware how the offices were attacked. Now, particularly in the case of Anambra, car readers were burnt down. Now, the commission had to do a mop-up of car readers from the entire, contiguous states to be able to have the full complement and also to even have redundant car readers to be used for that election. That was a massive emergent operational challenge that was thrown up, that was also met. But in any case, beyond that, and the fact that very critical election material, as he has noted, had not arrived some other part of the country. As a commissioner, I am on the ground in charge of a state. I speak to my colleagues in other parts of the state. So even without whatever the chairman has said, we are the ones giving the report to the chairman of what the situation is in our respective states, on the basis of which, the right decision to safeguard that the level of democratic threshold that we have crossed, has to be taken. It's a regrettable decision. We feel bad about the decision, but I want to assure Nigeria that in the final analysis, the outcome of what we are going to do on Saturday will certainly compensate for this temporary setback. Because what it meant would have been that the election would have been taking place in a staggered form across the country. That will also lead to the disenfranchisement of Nigerians. But that is not what will happen this time around. And again, we have developed a lot of tools, robust tools, systems, procedure to secure the sanctity of the ballot in such a way and manner that the ballot will continue to remain the best means of expressing the will of the people truly in a democracy. And that is what we have tried to do, and that's what we want to do. We regret what happened. It's a painful decision that has to be taken, but we want to assure Nigerians that while we call for their understanding and patience, we believe that by Saturday, what we do will compensate for what has happened. But again, we are regretful of this situation, and we appeal to Nigerians for understanding.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Mike Igini. We continue with the news. INEC may be plunging the nation into disrepute if it decides to further postpone the election beyond February 23rd and March 9th. This was the submission of analysts at the Plus TV Africa's election studio program, Nigeria Decides.
They have a week. They have a long week to give themselves time to be able to ensure that they get all the adequate materials to the places that they need to get to ensure that we have safe, free and fair elections by Saturday. I feel like if INEC were actually to decide to postpone the elections one more time, it would be an international problem. Because you have the US, you have America, the US and the UK, for example, they've already made comments in relation to this election, talking about how Nigerian people should just remain calm and just remain confident in the fact that, this election will hold next week, and to implore that INEC do all things possible to ensure that it is actually held next week. Nigeria shouldn't actually look like the laughingstock of Africa, which currently is what we look like.
The All Progressive Congress APC National Caucus will on Monday hold an emergency meeting in Abuja to discuss prevailing national issues, the news agency of Nigeria reports. The meeting is coming after the Independent National Electoral Commission postponed the earlier scheduled February 16 presidential and National Assembly elections. The news agency reports that the APC caucus, which is the statutory organ of the party, is chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari and has the vice president and all the party's former governors as members. Its membership also includes the party's 7 governors and members of its National Working Committee, among others. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu had few hours to the commencement of the Presidential and National Assembly elections announced the rescheduling of the exercise by 1 week. By the postponement, the Presidential and National Assembly elections now comes up on February 23, while the governorship and State House of Assembly elections comes up on March 9. The Kogi State Deputy Governor Simon Achuba has raised alarm that his life is in danger following the withdrawal of his security details allegedly on the order of the State Governor Yahaya Bello. Achuba made the allegations at a press briefing on Sunday in Kogi. He said he was shocked after returning from a trip to his village where he had gone for the Saturday's scheduled elections to find the gates to his official residence empty without any of his security personnel. He said, "I was surprised to see that all policemen attached to my house had been withdrawn. I then put a call across to the Commissioner of Police, Hakeem Busari, who also expressed shock and promised to give the matter an urgent attention. After about an hour, I called him again, but he refused to pick my call. I sent a text message to him, and up till now, he has not got back to me," Simon added. The Deputy Governor called on the Acting Inspector General of Police to intervene so as to maintain law and order in the state. He said that the point of departure between himself and the governor was in the area of urging the government to do things according to the will of the people, to which no one has been listening. When contacted, the Director General Media and Publicity to the Governor, Kingsley Fowle, said it was not the state governor's responsibility to post security details to the Deputy Governor. The security heads do, so the governor is not responsible for posting security through his deputy. When contacted, the State Commissioner of Police, Hakeem Busari, said he had promised to look into the matter. It's time for us to take a quick break. Stay tuned for more news when we return. You're watching News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Zimbabwean rescuers pulled the bodies of at least 22 illegal gold miners out of shafts west of Harare that were flooded earlier in the week and rescued 8 more alive, officials said. The accident, involving about 70 miners in battlefields 175 kilometers west of the capital, happened on Tuesday night and has shone a light on the risk run by illegal gold miners who last year contributed a large part of Zimbabwe's record 33-ton billion output. The government had declared the incident a disaster. Henrietta Rushwire, the chief executive officer of the Zimbabwe Miners Federation, which represents small-scale miners, said at least 22 bodies had been identified in the shafts and tunnels. "We hope we'll be able to retrieve all of the people in time," Rushwire said. A Reuters witness saw rescuers pulling out at least 6 bodies in white and blue body bags that were taken to a tent for identification. Kenya has recalled its ambassador to Somalia after the Mogadishu government's decision to auction oil and gas exploration blocks at the center of a maritime territorial dispute in the Indian Ocean, the Foreign Ministry said. The International Court of Justice in The Hague is considering a claim on their maritime boundaries brought by Somalia in 2014 after negotiations over the 100,000 square kilometers stretch of sea floor broke down. Kenya said on Saturday it had summoned its ambassador Lucas Tumbo and asked his Somalia counterpart Mohammed Noor to return to Mogadishu for consultation with his government. Somalia, which held the auction in London on February 7, did not respond immediately to the new development. The news continues after this very short break. Don't go away.
Every day starts with a vision. And as the saying goes, if you believe you can fly, you will. At Arik Air, we are determined to make good of every promise we make, maintaining operational excellence, an efficient fleet, and team friendliness. Flying demands the best of safety procedures, and that is why we are abreast of global standards delivered by top technicians using some of the most advanced technologies. At Arik Air, we don't just believe in flying, we are passionate about the flight. flying experience. An experience that safely delivers you at each destination, feeling comfort and pleasure. An experience which truly keeps you closer to your dreams. This is our vision. Today, tomorrow, and beyond. Arik Air, Africa's fastest growing airline.
Four Indian soldiers and a civilian were killed in a gun battle in disputed Kashmir on Monday, a police official said, as India launched a hunt for suspected members of an Islamist militant group that killed 44 Indian paramilitary police last week. A police spokesman in the northern state of Jammu and Kashmir said Indian troops had condoned of Pinglong village in Kashmir's Pulwana district, where a suicide bomber rammed into a convoy of paramilitary police on Thursday. Another state police official, who declined to be identified because the operation is not yet over, said information had been received about the presence of up to 3 militants from the Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed group, including foreigners, inside a house in the village. The second police official said 4 soldiers and a civilian were killed in the gun battle. A cyber attack on Australian lawmakers that breached the networks of major political parties was probably carried out by foreign government. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said on Monday, but did not name any suspects. As Australia heads for an election due by May, lawmakers were told this month to urgently change their passwords after the Cyber Intelligence Agency detected an attack on the National Parliament's computer network. The hackers breached the networks of the major political parties, Morrison said, as he issued an initial assessment by investigators. Morrison did not reveal what information was assessed, but he said there was no evidence of electoral interference.
But our cyber experts believe that a sophisticated state actor is responsible for this malicious activity. Let me be clear, though, there is no evidence of any electoral interference. We have put in place a number of measures to ensure the integrity, though, of our electoral system. I have instructed the Australian Cyber Security Centre to be ready to provide any political party or electoral body in Australia with immediate support, including making their technical experts available.
We don't know who is behind this nor their intent. We know what they have affected, and our job at the moment is in securing those networks. We, of course, will continue to work with our friends and colleagues, both here and overseas, to work out who is behind it and hopefully their intent.
Up next is our business news. Latest data from the Central Bank of Nigeria released on Sunday showed that the nation's foreign exchange reserves fell to a 2-month low, settling at $42.86 billion. As of January 31, the reserve stood at $43.17 billion, and in December it was $42.87 billion. The Apex Bank had recorded $47.86 billion in May of 2018. However, PricewaterhouseCoopers in its 2019 outlook noted that the Apex Bank had increased its dollar injection into the FX market by 87%. This decline has thus been attributed to an increase in forex demand and the election cycles. Still ahead on Plus TV Africa News is a roundup on entertainment and sports.
first point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show. We do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
He suffered equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them.
No talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
Lawyers for the U.S. actor Jussie Smollett have denied he had any role in an assault last month he alleges was carried out by two white men. Their statement came after sources told U.S. media that police believed he may have paid two Nigerian brothers to stage the attack on January 29. The brothers, who worked as extras on Empire, the show Smollett starred in, have been questioned by Chicago police. Police have only said the trajectory of the investigation has shifted. That's it on entertainment.
Shooters of all-time Steph Curry to win the three-point contest. Harris made 12 straight shots in the final round and went a staggering 15 for 18 on money balls, the shots worth the most to win the three-point title. He finished with 26 of a possible 34 points in the final round, beating Curry by 2. And in the All-Star game, Team LeBron turned up the heat in the second half to flip a 20-point deficit into a 178-164 victory against that Team Giannis. And Warriors forward Kevin Durant was named All-Star Game MVP after finishing with 31 points and 7 rebounds. And in the slam dunk contest, it was Oklahoma City's Hamidou Diallo who put on a show to win the league's annual slam dunk contest. And Diallo pulled off a dunk that will be talked about for years in the first round, dunking over Shaquille O'Neal, hanging on the rim by his elbow, then tearing up his jersey to reveal a Superman shirt underneath.
Wait, let me see. Look at that. No, that's on the back. But you still, you elbow in the rim. Let me see. You elbow in the rim. You elbow in the rim. Come on, man. No, that's good. Oh, hell no. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's a 60.
And that's it on Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I'm Udoka Njoko.
That sure looks like a Superman stunt. Thank you, Doka. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's also at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do please join us again. Thank you for watching.
Brazilian who, with the longer blades that Austria wasn't too impressed with. 200 metres, but we must stress, absolutely legal.
Sounds of the surf.
Yeah. Now that you either hate or I don't want
And this time they are away, and Peacock goes away strongly.
She wants a man from London, she wants a fellow with felonies. That's not really my team. There's no I in it, I bring it on my team. Just when it's all my team. Even the bouncers bounce when it's all my team. Who do you wanna never know? Don't be a sheep when you can be bold. Great, it's about time and you never know. Don't show up to my show.
This is absolutely marvelous.
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable and it has to end now.
Perfection Train is back.
They take us to the bush and start asking us to call our people to send money.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
She is the queen of the oil and gas sector in sub-Saharan Africa. Folorunsho Alakija is one of the richest women in the world. She was born in Ikorodu, Lagos in July 1951. She is one of 52 children of her late father who married 8 wives. At age 7, she traveled to the United Kingdom for her elementary education, returned to Nigeria to attend Muslim High School in Shagamu. She attended Pitman's Central College, London. Folorunsho loves fashion and business, so she studied fashion design in the UK. Nigeria beckoned, and back she went to launch her fashion line called Supreme Stitches. On her return, she won Best Fashion Designer of the Year award. She is a lifelong trustee of the Fashion Designers Association of Nigeria. She married Modupe Alakija, a lawyer, and they have 4 sons and 2 grandchildren. She got an oil prospecting license in 1993 to drill OPL 216. She is the executive vice chairman of Famfa Oil. Folorunsho is an author, a philanthropist, and owns Rose of Sharon Foundation, which empowers widows and orphans. She briefly displaced Oprah Winfrey as the richest black woman. She reportedly spent about £5 million on her son's destination wedding at the Belhaim Palace.
And this is The Mogul in 90 seconds.
Hello and welcome to Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. On today's show, we'll be focusing on children in Africa, from the children in the slums to saving babies from HIV to former child soldiers and child slaves. Now, Africa's child population is projected to increase by 170 million between now and 2030, taking the number of the continent under 18 to 750 million. But how is Africa investing in its young? We start from Nigeria, where Isaac Omoyele believes every child in the slum should go to school. Let's take a look at Isaac's project in Lagos.
The word success is part of his name, and Isaac Success Omoyele has high aspirations. He's determined to make a better life for young people living in slums in Africa. More than 9 million children in Nigeria don't go to primary school. Isaac wants to change that through his Dreams from the Slum initiative.
We strongly believe that they may be born in the slum, but the slum is not born in them. We believe that the children in this community, and every child has a future, every child has a dream, and there's something inside of them. It just depends on everyone to believe in it or to connect.
Isaac grew up poor himself, but through hard work and determination, he won a scholarship and got an education. Now he raises funds from private donors, NGOs and foundations so that children living in slums have the chance to go to primary school.
Growing up was very, very tough for me.
I knew how it felt like as a child not to have basic school materials. I knew how it felt like as a child to go to school without eating on an empty stomach. This inspired me, this motivated me. You know, I said to myself that I could do something also to help other children in the same community where I grew up from.
Isaac's initiative also supports internally displaced people in Nigeria. With financial assistance from the charity the International Coalition for the Eradication of Hunger and Abuse, it helps individuals and families build new lives and makes it possible for children to get an education. We had to flee from our village and come down to Lagos because of Boko Haram. We're grateful to Brother Isaac for all the help we've been getting, teaching our children, sometimes donating books so our children can go to school and get educated. Teenage pregnancy is a widespread problem in Nigeria, and unmarried mothers are often ostracized from society. Isaac believes that everyone deserves a second chance. His Teenage Mothers Academy helps empower these women through mentorship and skill teaching.
We have professionals in different fields that would counsel you and advise you rightly so that you can become your dreams. So the fact that you have a very beautiful baby now does not mean you cannot become whatever you still want to become. You can still be a successful lawyer, you can still be a successful businesswoman, you can still be successful at every field. 2, 3.
The first lesson for the young women is for them to learn to believe in themselves.
Awesome. Thank you. Abdulaziz, what do you want to become in future? Doctor. He says he wants to become a doctor, and I believe that dream is so possible, and that is why we are making access to education.
Since he founded his initiative in 2013, the social activist and child advocate has made it possible for at least 50 children a year to get an education they otherwise wouldn't have had access to. And he dreams that one day every child born in a slum will have that chance.
Malema. Oh, yeah, come now.
Now he's ambitious, from helping children in the slum to pregnant teenagers and helping displaced Boko Haram victims. Now we head to Ghana. A former child slave starts a school for children slaves in Ghana.
Ghana's Lake Volta covers a dark secret: child slavery. Just months ago, these kids were slaves. Then volunteers from the Challenging Heights organization rescued them. Now in a rehabilitation center, the children reflect on what they've gone through. I didn't know that my mum had taken the money. She told me a lady wanted a boy to go and stay with her. Then they took me away to Yeji on the lake. 16-year-old Ko is only in 4th grade. He has a lot to catch up with. Getting kids back to school was exactly what James Kofi Annan had in mind when he founded Challenging Heights. He himself used to be a child slave on the lake.
The thing that I dreaded most, and every child I worked there always dreaded most, was diving to remove trap nets. And I was trapped so many times. I am just lucky that I survived.
James was 13 when he escaped from his fishermen slave masters. He worked hard to get through school and then university. He finally became a bank manager. And he started helping others by founding Challenging Heights.
All that we need from you is the willingness, the enthusiasm to want to work.
So that more women can have a better living and stay with their children instead of opting to sell them. At the moment, this school run by Challenging Heights has around 700 pupils. The school provides diving for trapped nets. Without James's effort, many of them would still be trapped in Lake Volta. But even then, the former child slave is frustrated. Despite his work, James watched Ghana's rating worsen on the Global Slavery Index.
It is just the failure or lack of actions on the part of government that is moving us to Tier 2.
When James sees fishing boats on the shore of Winneba, he knows exactly what to do: rescue the children and, at the same time, help mothers. He aims to help at least 1,000 women annually and to prevent around 2,000 children being sold into slavery.
Now, from schools in the slums and schools for former child slaves, we head to the Kingdom of Lesotho, which is an enclaved country within the borders of South Africa, with schools for shepherds.
When the evening sets in here in the village of Semonkong, Julius Majoro and his sister Jamina head to their other job, teaching. Julius started this school 10 years ago. With the colder weather, the shepherds descend from the mountain tops to pastures that are closer to the school. Students don't get education credentials, but have the chance to learn basic skills.
I want to teach them Sesotho, maths and English, and also some skills. We also want to help them to grow socially because they have been isolated. So they used to be alone. They need someone to encourage them and also to counsel them regularly.
Learning is intense. During the day, these boys tend to their cattle and sheep, and it's only during the night they can spare some time to be here while the animals are safely hatched away. I come to this school because I cannot read or write. I realize that this is the only place where I can get help and education. After a month, the boys are happy to see each other again. The school ends at 10 o'clock, and after having dinner they return to their flocks. Many of them have to walk several hours through the night. Julius became a shepherd at the age of 14. His family was poor, so he had to look after the animals of a local farmer. After working for him for a period of 1 year, the farmer gave Julius 6 sheep, enough to help him go back to school. Today, Julius is a farmer himself. As of now, he has not earned any money, but he is happy to help others who are now in similar circumstances that he used to be.
No matter how, but my passion is just to help people, because for my side, I think we are on earth on purpose. We are not here by mistake, and we have something specific to do on earth. That's my intention. That's why I want to invest my life to the shepherd.
For many boys, shepherding is a cultural obligation. Boys have to help their families get their own animals. However, Lelahonolo Masota has different plans. He is one of Julius's pupils and he would like to work in the city. For him, the toughest part is the loneliness he endures in the mountains. It was painful to leave my parents because we do not even have the means to speak to one another. Sometimes we can call each other on a cell phone. It is tough, and when I want to walk home, I have to take a long journey.
Our hope is just to develop this country, because this is a very, 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 very poor country. Maybe next time, or next 2 or 3 years coming, there will be a difference from the shepherd.
The villagers say that the shepherds in this area can now read and write. Through the years, more than 500 boys have gone through Julius's school. He is especially proud of those who joined regular schools and finished their education.
An estimated 3.2 million children were living with HIV at the end of 2013, mostly in sub-Saharan Africa. Majority of them acquire HIV from their HIV-infected mothers during pregnancy, birth, or breastfeeding. Our next video shows how people are trying to change that.
The 30 women gathered here today share one common trait. They're all HIV positive, and they prefer to remain anonymous. All except one. Rachel Yamioko has been living with the disease for 24 years. She's been working with the Aide-moi à être mère, or Help Me to Be a Mother organization since 2004, counseling HIV-positive women on how to guard against passing the virus onto their children. In Burkina Faso, 110,000 people are living with HIV according to UN estimates, 13,000 of which are children. Most of them are born with the virus, having contracted it from their mothers. AIDS is one of the most common causes of death among children under 5 worldwide. a death that could have been prevented.
When the
mother is treated with antiretroviral drugs, the disease is suppressed so much that the risk of transmitting the virus is greatly reduced.
These drugs are provided free of charge by the Burkina Faso government. But many women do not allow themselves to be tested at all, because the fear of discrimination is too great.
If the test is positive, we have to support the woman. Women who test positive are often ostracized by their families. Most people don't understand the disease.
Education is one of the most important tasks of Rochelle's organization. Today, she's offering pregnancy advice to make women aware of the issue. Whoever wants to can then be tested immediately afterwards as part of the subsequent examination.
I'm pregnant, so I have to take care of it. I want to know if I'm infected so I can be treated.
If they're tested positive, the women are enrolled in a program that guides them through the pregnant system against